If you want clients, if you want sales, if you know you need momentum, start with the one thing that builds trust nearly instantly: your book. People trust authors before they trust entrepreneurs. People trust people who share who they are, who are genuine and real, and they put themselves out there. And I want to help you be that person. See that in yourself and then release that out into the world, starting right now, today. Hi, my name is Steve Kidd. I'm a third generation minister, international best-selling author of 40 books and counting. Over the course of the last 40 years, I've had the amazingly wonderful privilege of working with everything from brand new startup companies to multi-billionaires, from stay-at-home moms to doctors and lawyers, and everything in between. I've worked with people who are purely authors. That's what they do full time. I was talking with Danica, whose Minecraft book series, I found out yesterday. She actually found out from her publisher, and then she shared with me her books have sold over 250,000 copies of her book. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about two things, okay? Number one, the average book sells about 40 copies in its life. Now, there's 12 books in this series. So let's divide the 250,000 by 12, which would be, and I'm just really, using simple math on my poor brain, but that would be still something like, 10 would be 25,000 sales each. So 12 would be, give or take just a little more than 10,000 sales per each of the books. Now, I'm sure there's some of them that sell more and some of them sell less, but more than 250,000. And yet, with all of that, she was still looking for, and one of the most exciting things that happened for her was her being able to place her books. And we placed them lots of places, but maybe one of the most exciting ones was getting her books in the library at the Atrium Health Children's Hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. I mean, what an amazingly great thing. And just one of the probably best ways of talking about how you can get visibility. Now, your visibility is always going to start with the reviews that you have, with what people are saying about your book. We talked about this yesterday. People immediately go to the reviews on your book and they look at what it says. Unless the review number is like 1%, 1 out of 5 or even 2 out of 5. Even if you were, hey, Tavo, glad to have you here with us. But even if you were currently right now at a 1 out of 5 stars, that can be fixed too. Now, yeah, you need a whole bunch of really good reviews to offset the 1 or the 10 or the whatever bad reviews, but those are all fixable. Okay. But we need that review. We need not that review, like one review serves everything. We need consistently, ongoingly people reviewing the book and saying things about it. They don't all have to say, hey, this is the best thing since sliced bread. They could even say, hey, this book was pretty okay. I had one that came in on Romeo, Romeo the suicidal parakeet on, calling in sick to work. And the person gave it a 4-star rating, but then the review they wrote was really honestly one of my favorite reviews. They said basically they weren't even totally sure why they started reading the book, but the more they read it, the better that they felt about it and the funnier it was and the more that it did for them. And the same thing's been true. Danica's book, we did the reviews, brought her back up. In fact, we were guessing that we were going to try to get it in like the top 50. We wanted to try to get it in the top 50 for sure on the bestseller list. With as many sales as it's done, that was doable with a little bit of SEO work. But we were, hoping to get it in the top 50. We actually got it in the top 10. It was like number 5 or number 7, something like that. And then you got to consistently do those reviews. Okay, your book is going to create the relationship. It's going to get people to trust you. It's going to get them to know you, to like you. Know, like, and trust is what we build and how we build relationships. And that's how we then really create sales. I mean, sales gets a bad rap, but the truth of the matter is that we buy from people that we know, like, and trust. And so, if somebody's selling you something, you probably know, like, and trust them. Your book allows you to share your real, true voice with the world. That's why I love and always suggest doing books via interview, and have a story developer help ask you the right questions for you to say the things and to expedite it. Have that book get done in 30 to 90 days rather than 30 to 90 months. Lisa Nichols spent 3 years on Abundance Now. I know that, okay? Um, you know, it can be done so much quicker, and you can share your real voice rather than the ghostwriter's voice. You can put your wisdom, your story, your compassion, empathy, that deep, wonderful part of who you are out into the world, and absolutely share your authority with the world, because your book creates credibility. You can just use the phrase, even before you get into bestseller. We're going to talk about that in a second. But just to say, I wrote the book on that. I wrote the book on this thing. And the book could be, a fiction, fun story. I was actually talking to a video guy yesterday. And it was really kind of cool because just in the conversation with him, with my book, Bestsellers on the Beginning, that really is gamified and set up. From that, I was able to build a visual concept. We haven't put it together yet, but a visual concept for what a movie trailer, a little 30-second, maybe 60 at the most second trailer for the book to put on Amazon could look like. It could be a complete story. It could be totally nonfiction, real teaching. Doesn't matter. It's going to build the credibility for you. It's going to build the trust. It's going to start the conversation so that you can not just be, right off the bat. I don't know about you, okay? And I know some of you, because this is going live right now, and of course, will be evergreen as well on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Okay. And I know many of you, like myself, who are on LinkedIn, you get once to 100 times a day somebody that just comes right out of the gate and they're just blam pitch. Okay. And I'm not talking about with your first degree connections. I'm talking about, outreach formulas that just slam people. Okay. What we're finding in LinkedIn really works the best is to, make the connection. Hey, how you doing? Introduce yourself, get to know the person, get them as a first degree connection, but then, just offer value. Hey, I don't know if this would be helpful to you or not, but do you need help in this area? Hey, I don't know if this thing would be helpful. And I'm not talking about having this whole wide array of things, all of it within that niche that you are and who you are and what you do. Absolutely. That's what you want, need. That's just, that's the sweet spot. You start the conversation. You begin to engineer a sale because you're not really worried about engineering a sale. You're building a relationship with the person. You're creating that knowledge of who you are, that trust in who you are, and you're getting for the people that are for you, you're getting them to like you. And you're also, and this is just as powerful, you're getting the people who don't like you, you're repelling them. You're sending them off of your platform. You're making them go, wow, I don't know why this person wrote this book. They're crazy. Okay. I've done interviews with people who what they wrote their book on, I absolutely completely disagree with. Hey, Stacy, glad to have you here with us. Thanks. I appreciate the encouragement. You know, it's good to repel the people who aren't our people from us. It's, that's why sometimes I do wear a shirt, a collared shirt. And sometimes I wear the t-shirt like I'm doing today. Sometimes it's really cold and I wear my hoodie. I'm just me. I can go over to the closet and in like 1 second, 30 seconds before the thing, I can change into a collared shirt. And sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. You just want to show up as who you are. But, and here's where the but comes in, right? Always gets in there, right? In order for your book to do all of those kind of things, your book has to be visible. If nobody sees your book, okay, if you go to Amazon to your report section on Amazon and there is nobody buying your book, no reads, no purchases, nobody's getting your book. If it's not visible, you're not able to create new relationships. It's kind of like, some of you know, most of you don't. I live in the middle of nowhere in Kansas. I actually live in this cute little town of about 400 people. Once upon a time, it was almost 2,000, 1,600, something like that. But, since this college and, now the schools are closed, the town is headed to zero. Because it's 30-minute drive to the grocery store. All right. Cute, cool little town though. Thank you, Stacy. Yes, I will absolutely keep telling the truth. I'm here live every day, and any way I can help you be visible and valuable, totally here for you. But the whole point I was making with, living in the middle of nowhere in Kansas is, there's a lot of good parts of it. Lots of safety, lots of, your front door could stay open all night long and you're really not really worried about, if you left it completely open, like if you didn't have the screen closed, you would have critters in your house the next morning. But, as far as people goes, it's really safe. But like I said, it's a 30-minute drive to the grocery store, which means that, meeting new people is not something that's going to happen in a little place like that. And, the same would be true if you work from home. It's easy to work and even work all 7 days. Perfect, Stacy. Join us every time. We do noon Central Time, sometimes a couple minutes behind, but, noon Central Time every single day, 7 days a week. I'd love to have you with us anytime. Here to help any way we can. So we've got to be where people are. The cool part about our book, maybe more than anything else, is the fact that our book allows us to be visible and valuable and available for people anywhere they are in the world. They can live in the middle of nowhere in Kansas, or they could live, in a thriving metropolis. They could have literally thousands of people that they have to walk along, or ride the train with or whatever to go to the great big giant office building they work in. Or they could be out in the middle of nowhere, or, a stay-at-home mom, or, we were talking yesterday, an interview I was doing yesterday, talking about how probably the greatest entrepreneur in the world is just a stay-at-home mom. No, she doesn't get paid anything for the amazingly incredible business she has. But those moms that are getting it done, raising those kids and making them be a productive member of society and feeling happy, safe, warm, and loved and all those kind of things, that is the most incredible. Yeah, absolutely. Best business owners in the world. They didn't incorporate. They don't have an LLC that's, mom rules this house at blah, blah, blah street. But they totally are. But it's also very isolating. You spend all your time with those little babies. And that's where a book, you get that half an hour while they're all taking their nap, because you may put them down for as much as an hour or 2 hours, but let's be real, whether it's one child or a whole bunch of them, there's usually about 30 minutes in there of absolutely all of them are asleep and nobody needs to go to the bathroom or get a drink of water or has woken up or had a nightmare. Yeah, I was a single parent of 5. I totally get it. But you can sit down with that book And conversely, that same single, stay-at-home mom, single or not, that same stay-at-home mom can write a book that's powerful, that helps other moms just like her, and can share it with the world, and can connect heart to heart, soul to soul. That's why we do it, to make an impact in people's lives. If I keep going, I could see if I could make you cry, Stacy, if you'd really like me to. I just believe in this. It's absolutely the truth. We want to impact people's lives. We want them to know us, to like us, and to trust us. We would love to have them get our product or even just read the rest of our books. We want to be in a place like Danica's book is, where we've sold 250,000 copies, 250,000 copies of our book. I want that for every single one of you. Absolutely, I do. And that is all contingent upon visibility. Absolutely. When you're visible, that'll make you valuable. And we need to get you visible right now, today. If you're ready to be visible, okay? If you don't have a book, let's talk about that. We can totally show you how easy it is to create a book and how quickly it can actually happen. And if you've got a book, we could make it visible. We could actually literally start the process of it becoming visible as soon as tomorrow. I mean, we can get you all set up today so that first thing tomorrow morning, we are working on the visibility of your book. And you're going to see in a day or two, really, I mean, it literally happens as quickly. Whether you're talking about Danica's book that went from the 500-ish back down into number 7 or so, or you're talking about Dawn's book that went from 9,000 and something to 1,200 and something. Whether you're talking about any of that, visibility, people seeing it, your rankings, your ratings, your capability to reach more people. We've got all that in place, and that can happen. We can start the process of that right now. DM the word amplify or to me, or drop in the comments the word amplify. Let's get you seen. Let's make you visible, because you absolutely are valuable. The world needs you. It totally does. And I want to be part of helping share you with the world. It would be my honor. I would love to do it. Because your book isn't a product. It's your proof, and it's your connection. Take the time today to intentionally be visible so that you can connect with that somebody that's waiting on you. Thanks for joining me here today. I am so excited to be with you. I hope that you're happy, safe, warm, and loved, that the wind isn't blowing as hard at your place as it seems to be doing here today, but that either way, that you know how important and powerful you are. And then until we're together again next time, which is tomorrow, we're going to talk about holiday visibility that actually works. There is absolutely time for you to, even fit into that space of being visible on Christmas Day, when you're sitting around while the kids are breaking all their brand new toys, how you can be visible, how people can find you while they're searching the internet, while they're relaxing and doom scrolling. So come back and join me again tomorrow. And until then, have a great week.